Yes, everybody. Russ of the West End Network. Hope you are all safe and well, my friends. It is Thursday, which means we're only a couple of days away from the Premier League being back as the players start returning today from international duty. And they have been doing, but obviously the cut-off point, so to speak. It's been an interesting international break, so to speak, in some respects. And some have benefited. Holly went into a lot of detail about the international break for a lot of the players yesterday. Disappointed that Bono got a little bit of time, really, but not in the same way, because I kind of want him to be fit and raring to go for the game and determined for Saturday, to put on a good show and prove to Tuchel that he should be starting over, knowing Wakey, for example. Good to see Wan-Bissaka getting some minutes. Well, good for him, but not good for us, really, because that would necessarily mean that he will be leaving for the AFCONs in late sort of mid-December, early January. Diouf's getting on the score sheet as well. Great to see. But one of the guys who's benefited most from the international break, and even before that, is our Brazilian Magnifico. Now, a really interesting article, an interview on ESPN by his Brazilian teammate, Bruno Guimarães, really does sort of put into context, I think, not only the effects of the last couple of years it's had on him in terms of all the, the hearing and stuff, but what we'll hopefully be seeing now moving forward. Not only is he back on the score sheet with West Ham, but he's back on the score sheet with Brazil, and he's starting to be grabbing media attention and the headlines in South America for the right reasons, not for the reasons he's had probably for the last 2 years. But Bruno Guimarães, he has said that the Brazilian Magnifico is carefree. He's back to his carefree self once again. He now looks like the Paquetá of Flamengo and Leon that I met. A happy, cheerful, and content kid who is always laughing and playing. He started the season on the right foot, despite being left-handed. Interesting, left-footed rather. Scoring a load of goals, and he celebrated. He looks, and Bowen sort of also said this as well, saying he just looks like the weight has been lifted off his shoulders. I think for him to have a positive outcome, we will see the Lucas we know. And it does seem that he is a different person, on the field. There's the old swagger there again, and I think Bruno was quoted saying it was a difficult time. They always tried to be on his side, but if I were him, I wouldn't be able to go through what he went through, the anguish of not knowing what will happen. Your career being in the hands of others, it's sometimes something you're out of control. Now he's happy, and that smile of gratitude on his face. So arguably, the best piece I think of business done over the transfer window is keeping Lucas Paquetá, because I think we're going to see pay dividends definitely in terms of that. He looks happier. He's scoring for club and country. He's back in the Brazilian national sides. You've got to think World Cup year as well. And hopefully we'll see that form bring him back to the player that we signed him. Because I think it's fair to say the last couple of years, his form has dipped. And because it's dipped, when he's tried to do stuff, it gives more agitation to the fan base. Just hold on to it, man. But that's not the type of player Lucas is, as we know. He's a maverick player. He's an enigma. He's a type of swagger player. He's a baller who, I think West Ham fans really need, in terms of, many have fallen out of love of the way we're playing football. Someone like Lucas can bring us back in terms of the flicks and tricks, and and if he's enjoying his football, he's got a smile on his face. We enjoy watching him play, and I think it's great that we've kept him, because for Bruno to say that he's back to his old self, the Flamengo and the Leon days, and that's great for us, because that's the player we bought. We paid our transfer, most ever money record. That's the word. For him when we signed him from Lyon. we had him on top of the roof. I always thought it was a bit dodgy for the announcement video. And he was instrumental in Europe for us. And then, the last 18 months, granted, none of the team played really well, but for him particularly, he had that added weight on his shoulders, and it did look like he was playing with a weight on his shoulders. We saw, ironically, it was a Tottenham game last year that that emotion came out. And was it Tottenham game? Yeah, I think it was. And so, we'll be hopefully seeing a different type of emotion at this Tottenham game. There'll be celebration, there'll be dancing, because he scored an absolute worldie, like the goal he scored against Chelsea the other week, amazing goal, and obviously then scoring against Forest and the penalty spot as well. So it's all about momentum, and sometimes it's good for the players not to play international football because they have a rest, but so early on in the season, it's about building that momentum. We've got a few games. We'll have the same thing in October, same thing in November, same as last year, which is really frustrating for everyone in the Premier League until that stop-start. Why we can't do that in one big section maybe and just play all the games or do it later on in the year rather than batch it all at the beginning of the season when teams are trying to find momentum, players are trying to build fitness. I don't know why, but they've always done it for the last 2 or 3 years at least. But our Brazilian manager does look like he's back to his best, and hopefully we'll pay dividends to that, and hopefully we'll pay dividends starting from the cup final, as I keep hearing from Spurs fans. It's gonna be a great game. We're gonna have all the match day mornings. We'll have the watch-alongs, the review shows, stat attack, all that type of stuff. We'll be having over the next couple of days. Hoping to get a decent Oppo chat. I'm just waiting on the guy to respond to me until he can do it. But yeah, looking forward to that game because the Premier League's back, and hopefully you can build momentum from the Nottingham Forest game. But hopefully Paquetá particularly can build on that. More than anyone. So anyway, say a bit different, bit of a thought piece for lunchtime, because obviously not much news. Graham Potter press conference is today or tomorrow, he says, looking. I thought it was tomorrow, but I'm going to check. Let me just quickly check. I should probably check this before I started, really, but it doesn't matter. The Graham Potter press conference is today in about an hour's time. So I'll be back for the Graham Potter press conference in about an hour. Take care, stay safe, stay warm. See you soon. Much love. Bye-bye. Don't forget also we've got our raffle. It closes tomorrow night. Win yourself a signed shirt signed by Billy Bonds, Trevor Brooking and Mark Noble. £5 a ticket. Take care. Much love. Bye.